Hello everybody out there on YouTube. It's me, James, once again, and today we're going to be looking at the breakdown train set that I have assembled as part of my collection, but also as part of my model railroad and model railroad club, the Midwest and Central. So here we have the caboose. It was made from an old Pennsylvania Railroad caboose. The top on it went missing many years ago, and the vestibules and grab irons on either side eventually came off. So it was then painted green. I gave it a new roof, and I wanted to keep it sort of simplified, like a utilitarian sort of car. So this is the tool car for the workmen for the breakdown train. So here is the club logo. As you can see, this is the Frisco division logo. You can very clearly tell because it's the coonskin shape. So yeah, and it has regular plastic knuckle couplers. They're both spring-loaded at either end, and you can uncouple the train via that way. And moving on, here is the first crane. Now this crane kind of really functions really by itself, although most of the time I tend to pair it with the caboose because this is a gas electric crane. The reason why it doesn't, because first off it doesn't have the smokestack at the end, and secondly I put this little sign on it for the warning it's electrified. And of course there's the regular club logo, as you can see on the side of the crane. Now both of the cranes have these signs on them, and they are on either end. So here's the other one, and on this side right here, although you really can't see it, there is a little sign that says electronics at the top and pneumatics at the bottom. And of course the crane, it doesn't exactly spin a full 360 degrees. Also, this is a Lionel post-war 6460 crane, so it goes about that far, and then you turn it the other way, and it goes about that far. So it can definitely turn a full 180 degrees for sure. That's all it really needs to do, not a full 360. Although the hook on it is a little awkward because it's positioned off to the side and it's a lot bigger. It's a very meaty looking hook. Also, it has a die-cast frame and trucks and couplers. These are electro couplers that it has, or at least they're supposed to be, but they're the spring-loaded ones. So you can uncouple it like that, but coupling it back up is a bit tough. You really need to force them. And this is back when cars used to have weight to them instead of being plastic. So yeah, and also the car is weathered. You can very easily tell. So yeah, and then there's the number right there at the bottom. It's a bit hard to see. And now here's the lamest car of the bunch. This is the flatbed. Of course, you can't have a breakdown train without a flatbed, so it's just a regular 9158 flatbed. It's a Penn Central version, although this one has been modified slightly. It's the brake wheel at one end is gone, so that way it's completely flat, and also the truck wheels used to be plastic, but those have been swapped out with metal ones, so that way it gives it a little bit of weight. This is an MPC era car, and is one of the only MPC pieces that I still have left, or at least that I use like this. And now, onto the more interesting crane, although this one is not exactly the greatest. This is a 6560 crane, and it is also a post-war crane, but this one is different. Because number one, it uses tabs to hold on its shell. It doesn't use screws like the 6460. And the body is made out of plastic, although this one, its crane arm has come off and has been very haphazardly reattached. But it can do a full 360, but it has a tendency to want to lean to one side. So, yeah. But it's a steam wrecking crane, you can tell, because it has a smokestack at the end. And its hook actually faces the correct way, and it's a bit thinner, and it has this little notch cut out of it. I don't know why it has that, but yeah. And also, it has a more simplified system, or a more bare bones-esque type of mount for the screw that makes the arm go up and down. The other one over here is a lot more thicker, more meaty, but this one's a little bit more thinner. And it still does have the metal trucks and metal wheels, and it does have tab couplers at either end, so those are nice. But they do have a tendency to come undone quite a lot, because you really have to force them to stay down in order to get them to couple. And this one also has a logo on the side and has been weathered. But what makes this crane special is it has a tender. And yes, some railroad wrecking cranes, especially on the Union Pacific, had a oil tender with them, although those were more or less Vanderbilt style tenders, and because I didn't have one, I took a streamlined tender. It's the smallest variant one that I've got, and I added this top to it, and I painted it green, and then I weathered the absolute crap out of it on the sides, although you can still see it somewhat says Midwest and Central on the sides, although it's a bit fuzzy, and that's just mainly because of the weathering. I put some black blotching on there so that way it would give the effect. But in total, it's actually one of my favorite pieces, because you don't really see that a lot on model railroads, is one of these cranes with a tender, even though it is actually kind of common. Not to mention there's also a railroad crane in Panama, which has been nicknamed Big Tom, that actually has an oil tanker tender behind it, not a Vanderbilt style. And that one I know has been used, I believe it was used up until the 70s or 80s, I think. But yeah, I really like how nice this setup is. I am eventually going to get a locomotive to go with this, although sometimes during the winter time I like to add I have a snowplow caboose, but I put that on the opposite end of the train, and I have a locomotive over here pulling the whole consist, and it's like 6 cars. So yeah, it's a nice, cool consist. Especially it's fun to break out, especially when there's an actual train crash on the layout, and you can bring this bad boy out to perch on over there and do that. Also, yes, the crane arms do function. They can go up and they can go down, and the boom operates and everything, and the hook can go up and down. Although, to be honest, I really want to get some more of these cranes, but I want to get the Marks cranes, because those had a headlight or a searchlight on the top of them. So I can do some night scenes. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, hope you all like my nice little set here, and hope to see more of it in more of my videos. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and bye for now.